Hello and welcome or welcome back to my Dandelion Diaries. Today I'm going to be chatting about my planners in like a mid-year check-in kind of way, but also I want to talk about goals that I have for each one of these planners and also my goals in general and how I'm going to be working with those hopefully into the remainder of the year, if not just quarter 3. So let's get started with my first planner here, and this is going to be my art and ink journal and the intentions that I have for this. So this is a A6 Hobonichi HON in the Emma and Georgiana or Georgina Liberty Fabrics cover. I have the A6 HON clear cover on this, also from Hobonichi, and I have primarily just been using this as a fun kind of junk journal slash ink swatching, keeping track of my currently inked things in here, pen pal letters, letters from viewers, things like that. So I've just been kind of miscellaneously putting things in this. And honestly, my intentions for this are still the same. I still want to use this as an art and ink journal. I want to be able to keep up with different inks that I'm swatching, new inks that I get from pen pals or friends, and then also just keeping up with my currently inked and bigger swatches. I just find this really pleasing for me personally, and I definitely want to keep up with it. However, this journal technically does not really coincide with any of the goals that I have for this year. It's just kind of like a fun journal. So I have decided, after I talked about planner burnout sometime last month, I think, that I'm just going to be taking it really easy with this journal and only pick it up really when I want to use it. So, and most of the time that's when I'm doing my currently inked or if I have something fun that I want to put in it. I am not going to stress about the dates or anything in this journal. It's mainly just a fun place to paste stuff in. So I'm not really concerned with blank pages because they'll be filled up eventually with random things. Yeah, I want to be really fun with this journal and not have any stressors with it. So that's mainly my intentions for this. And I think overall goal-wise, like I said, even though it doesn't coincide with my main goals that I have for this year, it's a nice outlet for my creativity and just to have fun with. So yeah, this isn't technically going anywhere, but I do want to say that I'm not going to be using it probably as often as I was in the beginning of the year, just because I don't really see myself, at least at this point in time, reaching for it very often. And that's totally okay. The next book I want to talk about is my garden planner slash garden journal. This is a Sterling Ink N1 common planner in a Sojourner leather cover. This is in the quartz colorway and it is the compact horizontal version. I have been using this primarily for garden things. So I have a precipitation tracker in here. I have a temperature tracker. In the monthly pages, I've just been keeping track of miscellaneous garden tasks that are repeated every month. And then in the weekly section, it has primarily been a place for me to just write down weather, main tasks, master lists, things like that. And then in the back pages, I have notes that I'm taking on every week. So kind of like a journal entry every week of how my garden is going. And then I also have notes of like what I'm planting, check-ins and pictures of my animals, design work, things like that. Just kind of a bunch of miscellaneous things in the back. The only thing is with this, I find that I'm not using it as much lately, and that feels interesting to me, I guess, because in the garden season, it's spring here in Texas, so everything is in bloom, everything is growing great, like everything is doing just fine, but there's not a lot for me to do right now other than just water and weed and just wait for produce to finish producing. So it's not like I have a whole lot to write down. And I think that's what I'm struggling with this planner, at least in this moment. But goals wise, I want to continue to use this because my garden is a really big part of my life. It's something that I really enjoy doing. I really enjoy taking care of our animals. So I definitely want to keep this book around. And I also want to maybe try to use it in a different way in the weeks that I'm not really having a whole lot to do. don't really know what I'm going to be doing with that yet, but that's kind of what I've been thinking about with this lately. Overall, again, this one isn't technically going anywhere. I think once like I start harvesting and get busier with like preserving and things like that, this will become more of a necessity for me. But right now I don't see myself really reaching it for very often. So it's kind of, again, like the last journal I talked about, my art and ink journal. I'm grabbing it when I need it, but it's not like I'm forcing myself to use it. Yeah, I think that's primarily what I want to say about this one. The next book I want to talk about is my Hobonichi 5-year. I honestly have not used this since February. I actually don't really talk about this a whole lot on my channel just because I find it's, I don't know, pretty straightforward to use one of these. If you're going to use one, like, you have a plan for it. I will say, after I kind of fell off doing entries in February, apparently, it's been really hard to pick this back up, even though it's really easy to just write a very simple entry, you know, on the day that's happening. So I don't really know my plans for this yet. Again, this is one of the books that I put into my lineup this year as a fun thing for me, mainly to keep track of history around the world and in the US, and then also to answer just random journal prompts just for fun. So like the one that I left off on was, how do you feel about using humans in medical research? That's a tough question to answer, honestly. But yeah, so like this has just been more of a fun situation. I do plan on going back through and kind of filling out the days, catching up, if you will, since I am primarily just referencing this as history in the world. And there's lots of documentation of, you know, what's been going on, at least through multiple sources, whether it be social media, news outlets, Wikipedia, whatever. I'll just reference what I can and then write it down as like a memory/history log of the year. Catching up with this is going to be a struggle just because I am so far behind now, but I do have faith in myself that I will sit down and fill it out at some point. After that, the journal that I have probably been enjoying the most out of all of my planners that I'm using this year is my health planner here. This is another Sterling Ink Common Planner. This is an N2 in forest green. This is in an Elysian Paper Co. cover, and I have just loved this. So I have used this for several different things. My health planner is one of my favorite things to keep track of, I guess. But I've been keeping track of my pain management or pain days in my year at a glance. I did a body measurement thing in the front here. I did a goals page, which I'm going to come back to in a second. I did like workout logging, like what I'm doing in a tracking sense of like runs, workouts, walks, things like that. The monthly section has probably been my favorite so far, and it's mood tracking with the emoji stickers from the Coffee Monsters Co. And then in the weekly section, it's mainly just keeping track of my meals, fasting times, any meal ideas I have for the week to help me with cooking, and then like a brief like mental health synopsis, and then a routine tracker, kind of like habit tracking. In the back pages, I have habit trackers for the month. I have collections for my workout logs, also running logs, and then also shows and movie logging, so, and then recipes as well. So the back pages are more of like notes/collections. But let me go back to the goals pages here, because this is something that I want to work on more for myself for the rest of the year. So when I set up these goals pages, which is very unique to the Common Planner books themselves, I basically categorize the different sections of my health goals that I wanted to work on: running, weightlifting, healthy eating, my mental health, cooking, and learning more about medicine. So far in this year, I feel like I have been doing really good with my running goals. I have run a 10K technically. My race is in July, so I feel like I have made it to my 1-year goal for sure already for my running, which feels really, really satisfying. But my weightlifting has taken a back burner because I have been spending so much time focusing on my running training. I haven't been doing my weightlifting. So for the remainder of the year, I'm going to just consciously make an effort to work more on my weightlifting in addition to the running. So I think after the race, I will have a bit more of a, I guess, schedule difference in terms of weightlifting because I'm not going to have to like train as hard for a race. I'm just going to be running. And then weightlifting will become more prominent is my guess. At least that's what I'm going to try to work for. Healthy eating is another one that I'm trying to work more towards because I have been terrible about eating out this year. And I think that's another one that I'm going to put another conscious effort in of cooking more at home too, which I guess healthy eating and cooking kind of like correlate together. So there's that. Mental health, I feel like I have been doing a lot better this year. I've been a lot more conscious of the days that I'm struggling and journaling through those days and, you know, talking to people about it. Like, it's just been a definite better like scenario for myself. So my 1 year goal was I want to be actively conscious of my episodes, and I will definitely say I have met that goal. So 2 out of 5 so far. And then medicine research, I have yet to hear back from a teacher that I'm trying to work with about some healing classes. So this one's still a possibility. I don't know if it's going to make it by the end of this year though. All this to say, I want to make sure that I'm using this book to work towards these goals. So keeping track of my meals definitely will coincide my healthy eating and cooking, and I definitely want to be a bit more aggressive with that. So I may change my weekly layout to include more meal planning or make something that I can check off that I actually did what I was supposed to eat that day or whatever. And then as for my weightlifting, I also want to create more of a, I guess, again, check off system, because that really works for me in terms of like habit tracking. I just love being able to go in and boop, check it off. It's like a dopamine hit every time I get to check it off. So I definitely want to create something with that too. So probably going to be working towards creating some kind of change in my weekly layout just to better myself on my cooking, eating habits, and weightlifting. And then for the medicine, I'm still going to wait on the response from that teacher. So this one will be on hold, but the other 3, I definitely want to work more towards, at least in Q3, but for sure towards the end of the year. Then I have my Magic of I A6 size pocket journal here. This is an astrological journal technically. I primarily have been using this for gratitude logs or gratitude entries for the whole 6 months so far, almost 6 months. And I have loved every second of this. Going back through this and reading what I was grateful for has been amazing. Just so wonderful to look at. I just have really enjoyed this. I will say that I primarily use this for the astrological reference information in the monthly section for another planner now, but I like the size of this planner for the small entries of gratitude. Like, I like being able to write down just a little bitty synopsis of like what I was grateful for, because I feel like if I'm giving myself too much space, I'm taking away from like the little message that I'm trying to give myself. All that to say, this has been a huge step towards my goal of mental health, which I just talked about in my health planner, but it has changed my mindset on a lot of things, of being more grateful, being more positive, being more aware of the better things going on. And I think that has also been a huge step in my mental health conscious effort of, you know, being conscious of my episodes, being conscious of positivity, things like that. So I definitely will want to redo this in 2025. I already know I want to redo it in 2025. That's how much I've loved it. But I will say for the remainder of this year, I'm not going to be making any changes to this. It's been working fabulously. It's really fast and easy for me to work on. It's fun to just decorate with random stickers that I have from my Sticky Club collection. It's just a really nice, small little book of happiness for me. And I think that's the important part, for sure. Then I want to talk about my Take a Note planner, which is new to my lineup, I guess, as of May. I have been using this as a place for astrological journaling and I guess just notes about like zodiacs and horoscopes, I guess. I don't really know how to classify a lot of this information. I primarily use this for astrology. That's the terminology that I would like to use. I know others have called it other things, but this is my journal and I'm going to call it an astrology planner, I guess. So I have used the front pages here to note when the full moons and new moons are. I use the Gantt chart as a place to denote when the Mercury planet is going forward or retrograde. And then for the, I guess, Calendex index pages, this is like a synopsis of all of the aspects, major planet shifts, anything like that going on throughout the year. And this has been really quite nice. I have not filled out any of the previous months yet. I do want to go back and fill them out, but for the month of May and the month of June, I have done the monthly sections of how I want to use them, being, again, keeping track of aspects, moon shifts, a tarot pull for the month, reviews and intentions for the month based on the energies, and then notes about like the numbers, so like all of the 5s, all of the 6s, etc. So here's June. I definitely have loved using this so far. In the weekly section / daily section, the way this planner is set out is really cool because it has like a little weekly section and then like half a page dailies. I have been doing all of my notes about everything going on those days astrologically. I have loved this. This has been so amazing. I feel like I'm learning a lot more about something that I'm really interested in, and then I'm also getting to see how things are correlating with my life too, because in the weekly section over here, I'm writing down what's going on with me, like my day basically, and then over here I'm having what's going on with like the stars and the planets, which is so cool to me. And then I can see like, wow, okay, maybe that energy is why this has happened to me, or kind of like correlating and seeing how the energies are affecting me either subconsciously or consciously, because obviously I'm writing everything down. But it's just an interesting concept to me. So I've really been enjoying this, and I think this is something that I'm going to keep up with at least for this year. I really like the Take a Note planner itself, but I don't really know if it's something that I would use other than for something like this, or maybe like as a work planner. But I love the format, the layout, the lay flat binding. I love the slim build of it. It's just a wonderful planner. I love the thicker paper too, like the 68 or 62 GSM, whatever it is. It's beautiful. But yeah, I have really enjoyed this. In terms of goals, this doesn't really coincide with a lot of my goals. I guess this would technically go into more of like my spiritual category, like a meditation / the tarot practice that I wanted to work on. But the astrology is just something that I find fun to research and look up. So I don't know if that really counts as spirituality, but it's definitely a fun book for me to work in, and I've really enjoyed this like a lot. And the last book that I'm going to be talking about in this video is The Big Boy. This is my A5 Sterling Ink Common Planner. This thing has gotten some chunk to it now. I also have this housed in a Sojourner leather cover. And then I have a little monthly notebook here from the Coffee Monsters Co. in the front, which has my running training schedule on it. How I've been using this is just insane. I have tried to put as much as possible into this book, and I don't know, I have some things that I want to play around with as well. But year at a glance wise, I've been doing this for like appointments, my menstrual cycle, dates, vacation days. I did indexing and adulting logs in the front, goals pages, which I will come back and reference in a second. I did 2 types of quarterly pages so far. I definitely like the second version better. And then I also have been using the monthlies in a different way. So in the beginning of the year, I started by just having the important dates, birthdays, anything like scheduled out. And then now I'm writing down kind of like a brief synopsis of what's going on in the day. I just like the fuller page look. April's probably my favorite monthly spread that I've done so far, but it's probably the color palette and that it's, I don't know, my birthday month, and I just had a lot of fun. But yeah, so that's how I've been using the monthlies. Weeklies have changed a lot. So I went from the beginning of the year using them in an hourly format of scheduling my days to more of a dashboard style. And I think I have fallen in love with the dashboard style because I went back into trying to do the hourly pages and decided that I think the dashboard is just going to be a better fit for what I want to do. I also have done some kind of like journal pages in here when I don't even use the weeklies, just because I feel like it's a good way for me to reflect on what happened that week and maybe why I didn't even use the weekly spread in general. For the daily pages, there's just so many possibilities in this book. It's all blank in the back. So I have a date night log, I have a reading log, I actually have 2 reading logs. And then I've just been using the other pages as like a daily place for me to write down my affirmations, my prayers, task lists, any kind of journal entry I want to do. Sometimes I have a full page, sometimes I do half page. And what I have learned for myself, at least with this book, and after kind of going through a burnout phase with it, is I need dated daily pages. As much as I hate having like blank pages in the Hobonichi HON, which is what I came from, I think I would rather have the blank pages than have to set up every single day of the year. Even though I know it's really easy, if you just have a sticker, you stick it down and you're done. It's more of just like I don't know, it's like a peace of mind thing, having the pages already dated and not have to worry about it. The only exception to that, I would say, is if I were to just date the rest of the book in the back all the way through the rest of the year, which I may do just for my own peace of mind, but I haven't really bit the bullet on that yet. But let me go back to the goals pages here. So again, like the health planner, I have set up the goals pages in this book according to the goals intentions set by the Sterling Inc.'s Common Planner. So I broke this down into all of these sections here, and then kind of broke it down again from, someday goal, 1 year, half year, quarterly, monthly, etc. So in terms of where I'm at with all of these, my health goals, I already kind of talked about. I feel like I'm really doing well with working on those. Wealth, I wanted to do more investing this year, and I have not really bit the bullet on that yet, but that is something that I plan on working on in Q3 for sure. Mental is something that I think I am doing very, very well with. Mental, my goal was like to, let's see, I wrote, this year I want to continue my journey in being fluent in Spanish, reading 25 books, and bettering my practice in journaling. Journaling practice, 100%, have been doing a lot better with that, especially on days that I have really bad mental health. I've been really great at working through that. Reading, I'm pretty sure I've already met my 1 year goal of 25 books, but I'll have to double check. I have been on a reading binge this year, which is all thanks to the author Sarah J. Maas. I read her A Court of Thorns and Roses series and got hooked, and just kind of that reignited my passion for reading, and I really enjoyed those. And yeah, it's kind of spiraled since then. I've read way too many other books. Not really, it's meeting my goals. Anyways, and then the fluence in Spanish, I have been working really hard on my Spanish practice. I even got a library card that had access to a language learning software called Transparent Language. I now have an app on my phone called Tandem, which you can talk to native speakers to practice your Spanish. I've been working really hard on that. So I feel like my mental goals are coming along just fine. And then spiritual goals, let's see, I wrote for my 1 year, I want to become more familiar with my tarot intuition and meditate regularly. Meditate, I would say I did really good in the first quarter of the year. In the second quarter, I kind of fell off, probably because I was just focusing on more of my health goals. But I definitely think that's something I could easily bring back into short sessions and then long sessions. And then as for my tarot, I originally had a whole little planner dedicated to tarot practice, and I didn't end up really following through with using it as much as I wanted to. I might bring this back at some point. I still love the size of this planner. It is so cute. I love how I set it up. I love all of the colors. But daily tarot practice is just something that I don't have in the cards for me right now. Pun intended. But maybe monthly, like I've been doing in my take a note here, is something that I can continue to work with that. Tarot is more of just kind of a learning thing for me, much like the astrology. It's something that I find really interesting. I don't necessarily have any other plans with it other than to just kind of learn the meanings, at least for right now. For my relationship goals, I feel like I've been doing really good with the section 2. I've been spending a lot of times with friends this year. I've been visiting my mom more often. I will say that I think my date nights need to go to the next level. So if you have any suggestions for really fun, cheap date nights, please let me know in the comments, because I've always find it really fun to see like what people do for a really inexpensive date night other than just like, you know, having a picnic in their backyard or something. But yeah, send me some ideas. I'm really interested to see what you guys come up with. And then for my inspiration goals, I wrote down I want to travel to one place internationally, go on more nature walks, and expose myself to more cultural foods. So I already have my international travel booked and planned, so that's checked off. And then I have I have a few cultural foods that I've made this year already. I have a few more that I want to make, but that's something that I'm working on, again, kind of in like the health realm of cooking. It takes a little bit more effort to cook something that you've never cooked before, and finding the ingredients, especially if there's not a place to get those ingredients nearby. But yeah, that's something I'm definitely still working on. And then as for more walks in nature, my runs are at the park every single day, so I feel like I've been doing really good with that too. So overall, halfway through the year, I feel like I'm doing really well in my goals and what I'm working towards. I feel like I'm utilizing my books and system very well in working towards those goals. And honestly, I'm really happy and proud of myself, and that's something that I definitely write down when I feel it, because having that to look back on is something that I find really wonderful as well. I do want to say that for 2025, I don't really know what I'm going to do yet. I realize it is only halfway through 2024, but if you are part of the planner community or you like planning as a hobby or anything like that, you will know that a lot of the like more small business planners are starting to come out with their pre-orders or sneak peeks of like what they're going to be doing for their planners. And I'm unsure what I'm going to be using for my main planner for next year, because having undated daily pages is definitely a struggle for me, but I love the rest of the layout of the common planner. So I don't know. I don't know yet. I don't know. I do also want to say that I have seen a lot of people oohing and awing about Wonderland 222. I personally have not tried one of their planners, but if you use a Wonderland 222 planner, please let me know what you think about it. You can comment on this video, send me an email, DM on Instagram, whatever. I'm really interested in that planner, but I'm not 100% sure on it. I know it doesn't have daily dated pages, so I don't know. Anyways, I want to thank you so much for watching, for joining me today, for checking out some of the planners that I have been loving and kind of like how I've been doing with my goals. I hope you're doing really well with your goals. If you set goals for yourself this year, I hope you're enjoying the books that you're using, or if you've changed your system entirely from the beginning of the year, I hope whatever you're doing is working for you at the best that it can. Again, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.